Hey guys, Tales of Turam here. This is Goblin, I guess you'd call me. I am here today by myself to let you know what's been going on. So, this is going over a bit of Draconia, or the Marked Few campaign. So, I made a mistake, and I forgot to record a few side sessions that the party had done. There were side stories within the last week, but I didn't think anything was going to happen with them. Oh boy, was I wrong. The party did a lot of stuff and really messed up a lot of the plans I had and the story that I had. So, how do I explain this? So, there's going to be a lot of differences in the coming videos that are much different than you expect. So this is just a small preface of what's to come. Starting out, Basilius, or Moros, sorry, I keep calling him Basilius for the other game I play with him. Moros, I believe Gesh, I believe Eotis, and Okrin. Let's go with them first. They began to search for a place called the Eternal Glade after Moros figured someone had cracked his code within 3 hours of him studying at the library. He was researching, suddenly this came up, and he decided with Gesh to go search for this glade after figuring out about it in the library. And Eotis and Okrin joined them. On their journey, they discovered a group of adventurers, an archmage who was traveling with a halfling and a druid. Eventually, they found a house from the First Age, buried the skeletons in it, found out that it was from the First Age, and had decided to take over the house after finding its deed. In the house, they found some pretty weird paintings. They found the corpses of a child and a long-dead draconic egg, and a few magical items, and Gesh got a legendary sword that was able to be attuned with, but may cause him problems in the future, and an interesting set of armor, which I will need to rebalance a bit. After that, Moros created a teleportation circle, and his self from this time teleported in. They wondered what would happen if they interacted, and this time Moros got disintegrated and turned into another mind in Moros' own mind, which he can summon a small illusory double and put that second mind in it, or keep the second mind in his own mind. That's one of the abilities he got. Okra didn't really get much from this excursion, but as they continued, they eventually found the glade, spoke to the nymph guardian of it, the water nymph, and managed to convince her to not kill them, reviving both Eotis, who had been killed on the way, and the egg and the child who had mummified, and managed to revive them. Eotis, being a tiefling who was cleared of the corruption due to the eternal lake here and its purifying waters, had their body turned into an Ozimir. So that's going to be something that you need to pay attention to. Meanwhile, Gesh decided to enter into the waters himself and sit there and try to re-heal his body, which got rid of his bone fighter subclass that he was using. He still has one of his bone swords, but that's been completely the class has been completely wiped from him. Not to mention his body and his strength have increased heavily. In fact, I believe he's sitting at a +8 strength now, because his maximum also increased. Moros met with an admirer who had sent him on this path, and had an interesting night. He may have a partner, he may not. I don't know what his character thinks about that. And then they went back to the house to discover Othin, who went looking for them. Now, we move to Othin and Eotus, who did a small roleplay session, which is the most detrimental to the story I had so far. Thomas Micah was supposed to get them a ship at the end of the week. However, the two of them, leaving Zai's house in the first few days of the downtime, came across Barnabas, who was looking to set up a shop in Draconia. And Eotus, still as a tiefling rogue, decided to try and steal from him, failed, and he gave them an ultimatum: help him with the shop, or basically be turned into the guards. They went to talk to Thomas Micah, who was holding the shop for a large price, got kicked out, went to look at the shop itself, eventually went down to the lower levels, and after some investigating were able to determine that Thomas Micah, who was actually named Oriel, because that's his middle name, but Oriel is the name he actually goes by, was a devil from the Hells. At this point, Thomas realized he was caught, and turned into a bone devil and attacked them. They barely survived because of a well-placed, breaking of the game a bit, by Othin turning into a Brachiosaurus and then falling onto the bone devil, splatting him instantly. And then Barnabas gave them the reward, and they went on their way. They came to find out, within the next few days, that no one recalled who Thomas Micah was. The name Thomas Micah was not in anyone besides their minds. Now, I had Moros roll me an intelligence saving throw because he was a smart man, and he remembered Thomas Micah. Othin would then spend Eotus would then join the group going for the glade, and Othin would then eventually start researching bigger monsters, talking to his inner Scottish self, trying to figure out if he could turn into anything besides beasts, because he felt like he was getting underpowered. He can. It's just, we updated his class, and now he can, as long as he consumes them. Researching beasts around here, he chose monstrosities. He came across two monstrosities that he wanted to look into. First, he looked up and found information on froghemoths, large, hulking, monstrous frogs. He knows one of them is in the northwestern swamps, and one of them was around the western timberlands until a few months ago, when his second quarry that he was looking into, a hydra, appeared. Deciding he wanted to go investigate that, but he needed some help, he went to the wilds and eventually was found by his friends, who went back to the Dragon's Falls, which is the area where the original party found themselves after the Starbreaker exploded and they fell into the water. That is called the Dragon's Falls. Eventually traveling west along the large river, they came across a small camp, and they came across froghemoth's blood and body parts, and then they continued following its trail of gore as it continued to rush away, it seems. Moros managed to revive a guard using his soul gem, or a knight from before, who was killed by the Hydra or the froghemoth, no one knows. But they eventually split off in the main river, and found the Hydra, which they ran from. And that is almost all of the information you're going to need. The rest of the information is the party then contacted the architect after realizing that they didn't know who Thomas was, and he doesn't know either. He knew that he had told someone to get a ship for them, but now that that's no longer a thing in their minds, he decided to tell them that they need to go to the western side of the island where the falls fall off the island itself, and he'll send a ship there in the end of the week. The party then made their way there, or are trying to make their way there at the moment. That is the current state of things. I know I have missed 1, 2, or even 3 things. Oh yeah, a few things. Okrin is now a huge creature because the tree has been growing and making it more powerful. Eotus is now the Ozamir. That's nothing new. Moros now has his duplicate itself. That's nothing new. Othin can now transform into monsters if he consumes them for a long rest. And Gesh has a new subclass. Also, Eotis has changed to a paladin because he wanted to reflect his changing in character. I gave him the option to. I gave him the option to change his stats around if he wanted to. He said he wanted to. So that's not on me forcing him. So that's really the state of the game at the moment. I'm unsure if I'm going to post last night's session because it's the 8th today and the 7th was when we last recorded. Because it was really... It felt haphazardly put together because of some annoyances at the beginning for 30 minutes trying to mess with Discord bots. If there's a video after this, then that is most likely it. Otherwise, it will be an entire week until we record another video. Anyways, thanks for watching. You guys have a good one.